Hello my good friends, Roger, Mudfossil University, now finally making the final case for mud fossils and all of the research done at Mudfossil University in light of the fact that so much was so wrong. So here's what we ended up with. And I've had this set up for a year and I haven't even bothered finishing up with the site, but it's going to be mudfossils.com. Right? It's up there now, but it's in. You can't get into it. Only I can get into it. Now, first of all, we got mud fossil anatomy. I mean, it's all over the place. It's just everywhere. I mean, that's a giant fingertip. I mean, it's been CAT scanned, DNA tested. There's no mysteries here. And I'm going to go through all the things that were done, because here's what it was done. 7 CAT scans. 7 CAT scans. Those are expensive, and I'll go through all of this. Jesse Garant and Associates, unbelievable, and they are my heroes. 3 ancient protocol DNA tests done by Helix Biolabs. I'm going to show you the reports. And like this here, it's a lung. That's a human lung. Any doctor alive that's ever done an autopsy, been inside of a human body, or even been to medical school, is going to know that's a lung. But it was DNA tests, it was CAT scan, it was all those things. Then also, and that was done by Helix Biolabs, the DNA, 3 tests. Ancient protocol, not just a little swab, and done inside, taking it out from the arterial blood supply, because I do know where they are. Now, autopsy school trainer and owner. He owns a school and he trains all around the world, trains how to do autopsies. Gil Headley, absolutely fabulous. I worked with him on identifying all the anatomy, and all of this stuff was all certified. So I need to get this widely understood. I mean, there's so much that's not understood correctly, and it's not only just the fossils, because you go from here to light. We're accelerating light. We're creating Higgs fields, new particles. And we've even seen charge separation on this light. And again, another thing that nobody will discuss. We're going to explore the atoms, the components, a completely new way, because they've already admitted the Bohr model's wrong, everything's wrong. Electron flood theory is going to be, hold on. This right here, my friends, is the entire, that's it, you're a nuclear physicist. That's all that exists. And they just add together. 2 of them make a photon, a whole batch of them make a proton, another little more of them make a neutron, and a whole batch of these and that make isotopes, and every single one of these. So that's the next phase of what we're looking into, which is also being avoided by the ones you'd hope would look into it. And this, well, let me just talk to you about this, because this is how things started. This was even before I had my DNA test done, I believe. It's blurry now, because this goes back 8-9 years now. This head, and I could show it to you, it's absolutely no question it's a human head. And so in the meantime, I was fighting with Yale because they refused to look at anything. Apps still refuse to this very day. No, apps don't bring it here. Stay away from us. So I said, you got to look at this head. No, you can't look at that. We're not going to look at it. I said, well, how could I get you to look at it? Well, you need DNA, you need CAT scan. So I said, all right, we're going to do it. So we went and had this head CAT scanned at University of Texas, where Yale recommended. It ended up, a lawyer called me and police to leave them alone, because I wanted a little more. All I wanted was one phone call of information. They refused, and I got kind of, aggressive about it, yes. But I wasn't threatening anybody, but that's what they were saying. Oh, you're threatening people. I said, what? That's insanity. I just want a question answered. And so anyway, they threatened me. So that sort of put a real bad taste in my mouth, I can tell you that. I'm showing you this head. Where do you see it? Alright, today is the day we're telling all the tales. Now, let's go back, I don't know how many years, but it was at least 5 or so, 6 maybe. Maybe more than that, I don't know. But I saw this head. This is when I'm in the midst of really being upset that nobody will look at my mud fossils, because I've got them all checked out and looked at, and no question they are what they are. So I see this head being portrayed on national TV, and Scott Walter gets on. He says, "Oh no, that's not. That's just a carved sandstone head." So I said, "Whoa!" I get a hold of Scott Walter, and we had a pretty good go around, and it didn't end well. And his, just like everybody else, well, I'm an expert. You're nothing. Just leave me alone. But I had all the evidence, and they can't accept any of this. I mean, look at the guy's nose. The guy's nose is this. I mean, there's nobody that has any biology, anatomy, chemistry. They have nothing. They just look at things. Oh, this is that. Well, it's not. This guy's head was caved in. That's blood. We all know this now. Bone black, black comes out of bones. Very good. And this guy had he's got a cap on, some form of a cap. This is a weave in this cap. And underneath, Jim Burchell told me they could slide a playing card up underneath. And I didn't actually have this in my hands, but I looked at it very carefully in every way I can, other than just touching it. I don't have to touch it. I know these things very, very, very well. I've created feldspar myself. It is extremely easy to do. It takes less than a year. Very, very easy. Just use the natural things that are in the earth. Okay, so back to my stuff here. From this gigantic hand here, well, let me show you that. Hold on. We do the light stuff. There's the hand. Look at this. That's meat. Exactly like this. And it's from giant creatures in the past. They solidified. You could get DNA right out of there. That's where the blood is. You could see there's going to be areas where there's some blood, and there's areas where there's no blood. And meat has different spots that have blood. Like that's an area where there's a little bit of blood. This is some blood here. Blood works its way through the tissues and then gets pulled back by a vein somewhere. And that's just the way it works. And we understand the chemistry. I understand the chemistry very well. Well, let me just show you. All right, now I'm always bragging about the chemistry and how I understand it. Well, I do understand it, so I'm going to brag. Now, this is all about heat of reaction. This is thermochemistry primarily. However, it's all the same stuff. You're moving electrons, and that's what it ends up being. Always ends up being electricity. Always electricity. So if you add molecules together, and do all the chemical bonding and so forth. That's all you're doing is moving electrons. But trust me, I understand this stuff. I'm not guessing at much. You know, I gotta guess every now and then. But it's backed up by a lot of. I understand this stuff very, very as good as anybody else. Let me put it that way. You want to come to me and talk to me about this stuff? I'm ready. I could talk. We can discuss it. I'm ready. So when I start talking about things that I'm making statements about, I can back them up. All right? That's my point. Now, so we're into the chemistry. We know the anatomy. We know the biology. We're looking at energy. We're looking at light. We're looking at all of these things. Now let me show you a paper that I did when I first started. Hold on. All right, this goes back to 2015, fascia-facilitated fossilization. This was one of my early papers written, and I thought it was all due to fascia-facilitated fossilization, because I was finding everything all wrapped up in their fascia. Like this, that's a bonehead, and all wrapped around it is what they used to call tunica, which is fascia. It's fascia around meat. It's everywhere. It's fascia on everything. Even your skin, like that's a giant fingertip. And I have the whole hand out there. I will have the whole body. But that's also fascia. Now we can look, and we'll look at this stuff in a microscope up above there. But my point is that 5, 6, 7 years ago, I'm thinking fascia was the reason these things were preserved. And then I realized that it was, then I realized all the processes. Let's just cut to the chase. I figured out why it happened, and it was because of the Great Flood. And it was a great flood all over the earth, and there's gigantic creatures that nobody ever expected, and it appears that they were wiped out, just exactly what was said. You take it any way you want, but I'm not hiding from anything. If you want to hide, good. Go in the woods and hide. I'm not hiding. Okay, let's start with Exhibit A. Jesse Garant, the best people I have ever met on the face of the planet. They did 7 CAT scans for me. And guess what? No charge. And I'm going to tell you what, they are not cheap, and they are, look at this equipment. This is Jesse, and what nice guys. What nice guys. They have equipment coming out of their ears. Gigantic machines. Absolutely gigantic. Where's hold on, I'll show you. Well, here they are anyway. They're in Michigan now. They got a couple locations. Absolutely the nicest people I ever dealt with, and they didn't charge me a penny. All I had to do was send the stuff to them and pay to get it sent back. And what happened? Here's the problem. Right now. I'm running a Linux. When I did this with them years ago, I had whatever it was, so Windows, that type of thing, and all of the software, the stuff that I have was set up for Windows. So now I can't show you those CAT scans. I have them. I just don't. I have to convert them into Linux, and I really don't see any really need to. But look at the equipment these guys got. Absolutely amazing. Everything's 5 stars. Nobody has ever done anything with them that I can find that has ever had anything but just enormous praise. And I do as well, and Jesse and Fabio and all those guys out there. Just thank you very, very, very much, my friends. And I haven't mentioned you very regularly because people just don't like this stuff. But it's going to be known that it's true and it's real. And people that did have that vision, as you guys did at Jesse Garant, thank you. And the same with everybody else I dealt with, except a couple of people, which is every university and everybody else that had some stake in this. That they've already made a decision, like Scott Walter, no, that's impossible. Nobody's going to accept that. I said, well, I don't care if they accept it or not. It's real. It's a fact. And then they just go about their business. So anyway, that's that. Okay, speaking of Fuzz, forget my screen. When you're busy, Fuzz does not interfere with, doing my research. So forget about the Fuzz on the screen. Just regard the Fuzz I was talking about. Okay, this is Gil Hadley. Absolutely amazing. Very, very, very perceptive guy. Now watch this. And this was all about this Fuzz, which is the fascia. And nobody was really following this. And Gil talks about it because he's an autopsy specialist, and he's going to show this. Well, he owns an autopsy school, teaches all around the world. He has his own school.
Good.
Camera good?
Yeah. So here's the thing about the Fuzz. I'm going to try and do it with the camera. Okay. So we've seen the Fuzz. You can see it now. I'll put it in over my voice.
Now, I just want to say something. You see this? When that stuff all sort of mats in, it ends up being like this. And I got something else here I can show you. Oh, okay, this here. Same thing. See, this is meat. That was once meat. And that is the fascia that coats it. Exactly the same stuff as that. And it is strong and strappy. And then it's also coated, and he'll probably mention this, I don't know, I haven't actually watched this, but it's coated with synovial sheath. And guess what? Coefficient of frictions. Synovial joints in humans, 0.003. The closest thing to that is Teflon on Teflon. Well, no, it's actually ice on ice is 0.03. This was 0.003. It's orders of magnitude higher the synovial slipperiness, because all of these things have to move at the same time in every different which way. I'll let him talk and I'll try to be quiet, but I don't normally do well at that.
The fuzz yields to my fingertip. Sometimes I come across a stronger, thicker strand that doesn't yield to my fingertip. That represents older fuzz sometimes, or maybe it represents a nerve. But each night when you go to sleep, the interfaces between your muscles grow fuzz, potentially. And in the morning when you wake up and you stretch, the fuzz melts. We melt the fuzz. That stiff feeling you have is the solidifying of your tissues. The sliding surfaces aren't sliding anymore. There's fuzz growing in between them. You need to stretch. Every cat in the world gets up in the morning and stretches its body, and it melts the fuzz in the same way that the fuzz melted when I passed my finger through it. When you're moving, it's as if you're passing your finger through the fuzz, just like I did on the cadaver form here. So you have to stretch and move and use your body in order to melt that fuzz that's building up between the sliding surfaces of your musculature. The sliding surface, those shiny white surfaces of the rectus femoris sliding against the vastus intermedialis. So these sliding surfaces are all over your body, and the fuzz is all over your body, and as you move, you melt the fuzz. Now what happens if you get an injury? Aha! My shoulder! My shoulder is stiff now. I'm holding my shoulder. I go to bed. I wake up in the morning. I don't stretch my shoulder. I'm afraid it hurts. So I'm walking around like this. Last night's fuzz doesn't get melted. I go to bed. I sleep some more. Now I have 2 nights fuzz built up. Now 2 nights fuzz is more fuzz than 1 night's fuzz. What if I have a week's fuzz or a month's fuzz? Now those fuzz fibers start lining up and intertwining and intertwangling, and all of a sudden you have thicker fibers forming. You start to have an inhibition of the potential for movement there. It's no longer simply a matter of going, ooh, ah, stretch. Now you need some work. Now you might need to do a more systematic exploration of that place to restore the original movement that you lost. And usually this is the case. We have a temporary injury, then we restore our movement. But sometimes we call this aging. The buildup of fuzz amongst the sliding surfaces of our bodies so that our motion becomes limited. The limit cycles become introduced into our normal full range of motion, and we start to walk around like this. We're all fuzzed over. Our body is literally solidifying. We're reducing our range of motion in individual areas of our body and for our entire body in general.
Now, see, I told you I was going to cut in here, and I always do, and the reason I'm cutting in is because there is also chemicals in your body that are necessary for synovial sheaths to do their job. And they're slippery chemicals. And one of them is castor oil. Works very, very well to hydrate and to provide this exact slippery molecule that is, it's kind of unique. Castor oil is a little unique to oils. I'll just leave it at that. It's 18 carbons with on the 12th carbon is a hydroxyl group, which makes it very reactive at that specific spot, and things happen that can make other things that can make these slippery little molecules. And you can put castor oil on your skin, and it'll go right in there. I mean, it's unbelievable. And you can take it and ingest it. And I've noticed, and I ingest it. And, you know, you get a little stomach this and that. It's no big deal. And it tastes a little, but I've been taking, you know, a teaspoon a day, a couple teaspoons sometimes. And, you know, I do notice it's changed my stomach a little bit, but it hasn't nothing bad to speak of. You know, not perfect, but it does. I can feel a difference already in my back, because I have a very sore back. And the warmth helps it, and stretching helps it, and you have to have the oils. That helps it. I mean, I'm learning so much, and you must be too. I hope you are. I really hope this is helping people, because all of this stuff is, I don't know why it hasn't been looked at in a way that is more informative rather than authoritative. Oh, listen to this. This is a tendon. This is a this, and and it doesn't put you don't put it into perspective. It's just like pieces and bits of knowledge. They don't seem to get together to create, intelligence. You might have a lot of knowledge about this and that, but you don't put it together and know what it means. It's just bits and pieces of nothing. Anyway, that's so there's Gil Headley. So that's a number 2. And let's look at my DNA guy. Okay, we're going to look at the DNA test that I had done, and they're finding all of these same things are in space, and they're coming out of these comets. I followed comet 67P in extreme detail, and it is all biological, and they know this. They said it's so organic that they can't give it a name, and I said it is life. That is the name. Now, before I get into this Helix Bio Lab, and I talked to the director over there, and a very nice guy, and he was very receptive in the beginning. He apparently got assaulted because he said, "Don't go saying that I said these are giants." And I said, I never made that statement ever. I said that I sent you these samples, and you tested them, and they were human. That's all. This has nothing to do. You never said they were giants. No way in the world. I might have sent you fake stuff. You have no way to know that. All right? What you did was the job that you were contracted to do, and he tested them, and here's what he did. And this goes back to 2015. Now, to analyze and extract, perform extraction of genomic or mitochondrial DNA from 3 mud fossil samples, which I sent to him. Now, these are the samples, and they used all these different gene cleanness and that and ancient protocols. Now, this with the mud fossil samples analyzed had the following. These were the names I used: 36-inch tip, which was a fingertip that's like 30 inches wide. It's like 30 inches, 36 inches, huge, gigantic. That's one fingertip, and that's on my property. All of this stuff is from my property, and it's here right now, can be looked at by anyone. Now, the lung, which I showed, or I have shown, or I know I showed it, but anyway, there was the lung, and then the mud tip, which was the one that was maybe 10 inches long. It wasn't anywhere near like this. But that same guy is on my property, and I have the whole hand, and I've got bones sticking out of the ground. I found well, here, I'm going to show you. Wait till you see this. This was just a couple days ago. I took my dog out walking. Hold on. I haven't really got it ready yet. Oh, this baby's, it's a big toe. It's a guy's big toe. I found this just a couple days ago. He's just laying there. Oh. I can't hold that. All right, there it is. Now, that's the big toe. Well, I'm going to back it on here. And this is where the tendons come down. Come right down in there. And you see, that's got that notch there. They all have those where the tendons come down and they grab in. And then, of course, you have all the little blood vessel looking things. This is eroded away somewhat, but not a whole lot. It's still, and that's the toe. It was way down the other end. And on the other end, I found the fingers. And look at the size. You could tell they're from the same guy. They're right on the surface. There's the big, that's a thumb. And that's the anatomist and I figured it out. It's a thumb. It's and it's from the hand anyway. It's a left hand. This is a left thumb. Now, and I'll show you the hand. And anyway, you sit it right on top of there. I measured my toe, and the dimensions are exactly the same difference between the width of the toe and the width of the thumb. And again, this is a big toe. And I believe it's probably on this side is where the callus was. Because here, I got another one here. I'll show you another one I got. And you can easily see the callus and all that stuff. Oh, These things are heavy, man. Okay, here's one right here. Now, you see right here, this is where this one here is in real good shape. That's where the toenail was. All right, that's the callus. This guy needed some manicuring. That is the callus. All right, now, this is what happens. They have this bone, this tunica wrap. You see that wrap? I got one over here too. You can see the same thing on this. It wraps around, and it's like a seam. I mean, there's a seam on these things. I'm telling you. They wrap around, and just like this thing, to me, when I first saw this, I said, this thing looks like a crescent roll. Look at that. I used to see my wife make these crescent rolls. You wrap them around, they got that little triangle looking thing. You know what it is. And the Greeks knew about it. They called it tunica. Now, ooh, so this is his callus. However, underneath there is where the artery is. So the artery can't blow out. Normally that would blow out. Well, what happened here is a very, very, very unusual situation. The vein, that's all vein blood. You see that black? You see that? Ooh. That's all vein blood. That you never see that. It never blows out. The only reason it blew out is like it has a cap. It's got like a cap on the other side. Now this is iron, but it's the black iron. Now you see this down here? That's the wrinkly skin that's on the side of your toe. That's the wrinkly skin that's on the side of your toe, facing the other toe. Now, ooh, this one here is absolutely perfect for demonstration of all the different tissue types. Because here's the grip skin. All right, you see that? All right, get this out of the way. All right, you see that? Can you see that? No. Oh! That's the thing on the bottom of your toe that's got like a little gnarly thing there. It gives you some structure to step on. Now, this is that grip skin. You see these little fibers? That's what's in grip skin, those fibers. There's a ton of them. And I guarantee you that this has different chemistry. Well, I know it has different chemistry than any other part of your body and any other part of your skin. And I believe grip skin has iridium. I know it's got silicon, a lot of silicon. That's why all sand all over the place. Sand is silicon dioxide. And it's feldspar sand, so it's reddish looking sand because it's got iron oxides in it because it came from blood. I mean, that's just a fact now. People are going to have to deal with it. And that right there is the guy's big toe. That's the callus. I'm not making these things up. I can support every word I'm saying. And if somebody will look at it, then they can say, oh, yes or no. Nobody looks at it, so they just say, I'm not going to look at it, so no. That really doesn't work in my world. I cannot allow myself to unsee anything. How can anybody do this? And literally every single person that is in any institutional facility whatsoever that has any worries about peer pressure, they have to be worried about peer pressure or something. I mean, I've sent this to them and I've engaged with some of them and they just absolutely are upset, very upset. So, now, everybody's telling me, oh, just forget about all these people. Don't worry about them, just leave them alone, who cares? Well, I care. And the other reason I care is because you should care. Because this is nothing more than just a way of extracting income, as far as I can tell. And it's taking a toll on the kids. And my kids, you know, I paid for their college, so they didn't have to pay. But I don't like paying if I'm not getting my money's worth. I don't think you should. And certainly the kids shouldn't have to take out loans. And the ones that have, I think they should be at least get some free education here. They can come to Mudfossil University and learn anything they want. And that's what's happening. That's what's happening. And they are learning. I know they're learning. I hear I get it all day long, every day. People are very, very excited about this. But not enough, and it's not being allowed to be shown where it should be being shown. That's the key. So I will never stop talking about it, because sooner or later they will either have to come to grips with the reality on their own, or they will just be disgraced into a point of submission, because it's never going to go away. It's not going to go away. So who comes on board first? There's so much opportunity here. That's because I don't want anything from this. I couldn't care less. I just want the reality of it. I'm looking for eternity. All right? And that's what they have denied everybody. If you go to school, there's no God, there's no honesty. Well, bullshit. Bullshit. Something's going on, and they are not allowing any discussion about it. None of them. On any side. When I bring out the thing about the dragons and the giants and all this crazy stuff, the earth being made out of dead bodies, planets, comets, moons, all biology. Nobody can handle it. These things are a test. I mean, I'm telling you, they're a test. And I know that for a fact, too, because that was the message I received. And you can laugh all day long about that. But when I found the giants, and I don't know if it was the first search I did, but it was in the early first phases of finding the giants. I was searching around online, and a message popped up, and I don't know where it came from. I have no clue how it got there. And it said, these things are for you to see and for others as a test. All right? These things are for you to see and for others as a test. I had already seen him, and I could not unsee him. So there was no unseeing at that point, and so I decided to put the test out, and everybody, literally, virtually 100% failed. And I was distraught. Now I'm going to get into my soul, because now it's time to open up. I was distraught. I said, how could people do this? I spent a ton of money to do all kinds of stuff. I spent every day working and thinking, tomorrow. It never happened. Never ever happened. So it was very upsetting. So now I'm going, I don't know, up till maybe 2-3 years ago, which goes to 5 or 6 years into this fiasco at this point. I'm really upset, because my family's upset at me. Everybody's upset at me. I finally just withdrew, got away from everybody, and just did my research. And I'm happy about that, because I have found what I was looking for. And I don't care now about anything else. None of that other crap matters to me. Now, let me stop and think for 1 second how I want to present you this. Okay, my friends, I'm just going to share with you a couple things that came in this morning. This is most of them from YouTube. Now, this one guy, Dragon, he assaulted me that I'm crazy. I said back to him saying something like, you don't even understand your own name, because he can't believe that the dragon is there in the desert. He just absolutely refuses. He says the idea that things that big lived were sustained on this planet is a stretch, all right. Well, he's right about that. It is a stretch, but it is true. There was another one here. Where is this guy? All right, this guy here, new reply on I majored in anthropology and Mudfossil University. Bravo, my expectations were pretty low, and you've delivered on them. I don't have the time to watch your linked video now, so I can't comment, but I'll have a look at it later. Now, this guy saw all my stuff, and he's really thrilled, I guess. New reply. He majored in anthropology and did archaeology work. And he finds Mudfossil to be fascinating, undeniable. Keep up the good work. You're ahead of your time. So I sent him back, look at this, and he said, wow, everything's pretty seriously good. Now, then this is something that I get all the time. I get mentioned in a lot of papers apparently, and it's probably watch out, the guy's insane. I don't know, but somebody's talking about the stuff I'm doing, and here's one, the paper published in Geoscientific Model Development. Now, I'm not, all it says is in academia, because I'm in academia, but I don't post much in it anymore, although I should. Anyway, they keep saying you got mentioned in so many papers, and then one of them, and then they throw in one special one so that you make you feel special. I don't know. But anyway, what I'm getting at is I see this all the time. Every day I get at least 4 or 5, sometimes 7, 8, 9, 10 mentions, and it's always something of what I was quoting on the day before, or talking about the day before. So maybe we are getting somewhere. Now look at this. Look at this. Large Hadron Collider replacement plans unveiled. Because I read the paper, lepton flavor violation, and it's violated. It's no good. So the LHC, the Large Hadron Collider, never produced anything. What does he say? The proposal envisions a new 100-kilometer circumference. Holy smokes, 100-kilometer tunnel would be bored through the earth. Oh my God. I don't know what happened, my friends. Dark matter sheds new light on eternity. Thanks, Fuzz, for the upload. Anyway, it's an interesting time to be alive, I can tell you that.